Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Like what?
No, we're live on YouTube. He's not a clown.
No, it's good.
This is Desmond Smith, Senior Product Manager at T-Mobile. And he's got I don't know, can you see it? Got Android on his shirt. He is, well, I would say, probably one of the long-standing Android supporters at T-Mobile.
Yep. I think I've been doing Android pretty much longer than anybody except for the guys at Google themselves.
Wow, that's a long time.
Launched the G1 and many devices since.
So he's here with me today. This is really, honestly, it is a special guest because I know there are a lot of unboxings people can watch, but how many people are able to watch an unboxing with a senior product manager for the product that's being unboxed? I was very happy to have you here.
Well, thanks.
As well as to have this in hand. I only got to play with it briefly a few weeks back, but this is the, do we say thing of the hour?
The device of the day?
Certainly. The Samsung Galaxy Note 2. And T-Mobile has done really the Galaxy Note 2 differently than other carriers. You got some specials that you can't get with other carriers.
Yeah.
That might make sense for my audience because they're gamers.
Sure. Well, we've done a couple things, Chris. First and foremost, when we were talking to Samsung about this device, and they had all these great ideas for what we could do with the Note. They love the pen, they love the creativity, they love productivity, and I'm kind of like you and some of your audience members. I heard quad-core processor. I went, games.
It's a 1.6 gigahertz quad-core processor.
1.6 gigahertz Exynos quad-core processor, and that's the first quad-core to come in the U.S. from Samsung on a smartphone.
I didn't know that.
And so it's been in international versions of the Galaxy S3, but it's the first smartphone in the U.S. with quad-core.
So I had a very brief chance to play with the Galaxy Note 2 a few weeks back, and I can tell you, it set a standard for me that this is a good Android device.
Yeah.
And I mean that with all seriousness. The frame rates that I saw on this phone were beyond anything I had seen on any other Android device. It was that dramatic of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, the performance you get out of that processor, you were talking about Flipboard, right?
Yeah, Flipboard.
And you were talking about just changing pages, going through an article, and just the smoothness of the animation and how, fantastic it looked. We'll get to the game in a couple minutes, and that'll be probably pretty impressive to look at.
They'll love it, trust me. They'll absolutely. I'm just checking the YouTube comments.
Sure.
Looks like someone hopes to buy it in the next couple of months. Well, it's available starting today.
T-Mobile was actually the first to launch it. So Samsung has an event tonight in New York City where they'll be partying and being very excited. But I decided to stay here with you and do an unboxing. It's a lot of fun.
I appreciate that. I am honored. So I guess we won't postpone it. This is pretty simple to do, an unboxing.
Yep.
It's really the discussion around the product that I think is more exciting. This has been in the works for quite some time, I'd imagine.
Yeah, a number of months. And there it is.
And just so everybody knows, I happen to have the Galaxy S3 as well. And you can see side by side, it may not look like much of a difference, but the difference I think is palpable. I mean, once you start to use this, you are immersed in that screen.
It's fantastic. I think the best way that we've come to describe these guys is this is like Big Brother and Little Brother.
Yeah.
And the S3 is already a fantastic device, really powerful dual-core processor, big screen, 4.8-inch screen. The Note is a 5.5 screen, so it's just gigantic, right? So
I was trying to do the math on how many more pixels that is, but
well, they're the same resolution, right? So they're the same resolution. They're both the HD screen, but I think the difference is it's pixels per inch, right? So it's probably the density more than anything. But if you look at both screens, they're gorgeous. And I think the fun part about the Note is you've got some other features with the S Pen, with the processor, and things like that really take advantage of that screen in a way that if the S3 is that great everyday phone for probably most people, the Note is really for me it's like, let's take it to 11,
yeah.
Right? Let's kick it up a couple notches. I got a bigger screen, I got a bigger processor, I got a bigger battery.
But that's the thing, is even with a bigger screen, faster processor, about 10 hours of battery life, between 9 to 10 hours on average. This is what I've seen from independent reviewers.
Sure.
I haven't used it myself, but that's outstanding.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think for me as a product guy, so I start my mornings at about 5 a.m. I go to the gym and work out, and then I go to the office. I'm obviously a heavy Exchange email user.
As am I.
Yeah, and then this is one of the probably the devices these days. These are the first devices now that can get me through the whole day into the later evening, where then I can get to a charger. Or in the case that happens, right? If I'm on the road, T-Mobile's doing a Challenger tour where we're going out and talking about our devices to our front line. Sometimes you forget to charge your phone, so you wake up the next morning and thank goodness the alarm still works. And you have enough battery to probably get you to your first meeting or get you back to the office or wherever it may be. So definitely, for a heavy user, I'd say a good day and a half of use can be expected.
So I'm just popping off the rear cover. It's very, very, very similar to the Galaxy S3.
Sure.
In feel, feels very smooth in the hand. So there in the back, you've got NFC contacts. What is that? A micro.
Micro.
What is it? The
micro SD.
SD.
Mm-hmm. Up to 64 gigs.
Okay.
So.
But this unit has 16 gigs.
16 gigs built in.
Got it.
And then expandable memory.
This is 3,100 milliamp hours.
3,100 milliamp. That is the biggest battery in a Samsung smartphone that I'm aware of today in the States.
Ever.
Yeah,
or at least in the States.
Could be ever. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with some of their products overseas, but that's a big battery.
Yeah, certainly. Well, but you need the juice, and that's the thing. I mean, to have that balance of performance and battery life is, to me, I'm surprised you didn't have to make a trade-off. With any kind of.
The nice part about the Note, or in this case the Note 2, is you've got a large footprint to put things in the device. You can keep a big screen device like this relatively thin because you can spread your components out, or you can make room for a massive battery, which is another important thing too.
So I will get into some more Note 1 versus Note 2 comparisons, but one of the things I did want to make mention of, I mean, certainly we have the micro USB port on the bottom, but I found out something today that it's more than just a USB port.
Sure. Yeah, so that's also an MHL port. It's an 11-pin MHL, which is a little bit different than some of the previous devices from Samsung. But MHL will allow you to plug in a connector and then plug it in through HDMI to your big screen TV or to a projector and mirror everything on the screen. So you can use it for presentations or what we were talking about before we started, right? Movies, games, things like that. I mean, now this is a portable Blu-ray player. It's a portable gaming console. It's a business tool, and I mean, it's a
beautiful device.
Yeah. No, it's so much more. It's so much more.
Well, it's form, its function, its features. It really is. And like I said, I've definitely been watching Android, charting its progress. I was very excited to hear about Jelly Bean, specifically Project Butter in Jelly Bean. Yeah. This would be the first phone that I've used that I believe really can surface the power that Google has been providing that platform, for all these years. Yeah. Specifically those frame rates. I mean, this is a smooth Android device.
It is really fast. It's really smooth. You talk about Jelly Bean, and one of my favorite features on Jelly Bean is actually Google Now. I don't know if you played with that.
Absolutely.
Right. So you allow it to kind of capture your search results. And then it brings up things like, your traffic drive into the office or whether you have to be to a meeting on time. It can, because of the open calendar database, you can go in and it can search for things and say, oh, this is a meeting. I'm going downtown to the office downtown.
And then it pulls in the traffic and the weather.
You need to leave early.
That's pretty neat.
And I was like, oh, that's great. Yeah, I never believe it. And so then one day I searched using Chrome. Chrome is my browser, right?
Mine too.
So I looked up a soccer field I had to take my son to for a soccer match. And I said, okay, yeah, I kind of know where that is. It's actually just up not far from here. And I went, okay, good. Mental note. And at the end of the day, I opened up Google Chrome, slid up, and it said 14 minutes to the soccer field I searched for, and that was my aha moment. Yeah. I was like, holy crap, it really works.
It was contextual information, right? It was able to pull that in. I mean, it's to me, that's where the power of what Google's putting together.
Absolutely amazing.
It's a great feature. I've only had a chance to use it on the Nexus to this point. Mm-hmm. So here we go. And I guess here we are again. It's pretty much feels like the same kind of layout of hardware features. The volume rocker switch. To the left, on this side, you would have the power. And then, of course, you would have your LED up front, your light sensor, assumedly.
Yep.
Proximity. And then, of course, or your proximity sensor. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it would be earpiece or speaker.
Headphone jack. 3.5.
Oh, right up the top.
Yep.
In the back, you've got the camera with a flash. Now, the camera, I believe, has got the same components as the camera in the Samsung Galaxy S3.
Correct. There are a few software enhancements, but it's an 8 megapixel, what they call backside illuminated sensor. So better low light performance. I think with this, we've got burst shot. We've got I can't even think of all the names of
Dude,
the features
if
because
it's
they have
like
marketing.
this app, I love.
It's fantastic,
so
right?
powerful.
Absolutely.
Like, you can do anything you could do on a quote unquote regular digital camera.
Sure.
With the modification that you guys made with this particular one.
Yeah, I would say the camera performance is fantastic, especially with the processor as well. Shot to shot is like a second maybe at the most. It's really fast.
It's snappy.
Yeah.
After having used it, absolutely, no doubt. So there we are, booting up. Very slick animation. I love that. I don't see any drop frames. Android is the best mobile OS. I hope to test Jelly Bean on Note 2 very soon. How much is this on T-Mobile? We have a question from Joel Mario Holmes.
So with our value plan, it's a $249 down payment with a $20 a month equipment installment plan. So some of the other carriers have announced for around $300, and we feel that we're just a little bit better in price on our value plan. And that's a great deal.
I'd say.
So it's a good device.
The answer to your question. You'll have to pardon, by the way, the view of the way we have this set up here. It's not exactly my office was not designed for having people beyond me in it, but we're doing our best here. So we've got the screen here, the setup screen. I'm just going to step through here real quick. What does it say? No SIM card. I need to put the SIM card in.
We have to put a SIM in.
That would be.
We could skip that for now.
Yes, certainly, because we have at this point your. Note 2.
Well, so this is just another demo I brought. This one is already booted up, and this one, it's funny, Chris, you've got it in something, don't you?
Yes. So this is another thing that T-Mobile is doing that nobody else is really doing, and that is working with the Moga Controller specifically in relation to the software or games that can be downloaded from the store.
Yeah. So the Moga Controller was recently announced, and Moga is by a partner company of ours by the name of PowerA. Moga is a fantastic controller. It's a Bluetooth controller. So what you see right now is actually the Note 2 sitting in it.
So I was going to take it out just to show them.
Pop it out real quick. So since it's Bluetooth, it's completely wireless. And now you have the what we just call like a standard controller version. And the cool thing about this is, so we've talked about the MHL adapter.
Right.
We've talked a little bit. We've started to talk about the Moga controller. The cool thing is you can play with it. And now you're putting it back in, almost like a handheld gaming console mode, like you have it now.
Very much so. Yeah.
Or you could unplug it, plug it into that MHL adapter, and you'd have basically a console in your pocket. You'd take a great experience on a 5.5-inch screen, and you could move it in HD or whatever version, whatever format the game supports. But many games support HD, like 720p now. So you would have essentially a gaming console. You could sit on the couch with a controller. It's Bluetooth, so it's wireless. MHL adapter plugged into the phone, and you'd be playing on a 55-inch TV.
This has effectively destroyed any possibility that consoles can take off.
Yeah. So, and the other thing we should talk about now is, so now we've got great controller support. The game on device that we were starting to hint towards is T-Mobile will be the first partner of EA's to launch and preload Need for Speed Most Wanted, which is an open world racing game. It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto, where you cruise around town and there's different challenges. Sometimes there's racing.
You've got it on there?
I've got it on here.
So again, if you get this with T-Mobile, you get Need for Speed.
Get Need for Speed Most Wanted. You can buy the controller. Let's go ahead and just.
How much is the controller? Could I ask?
$49.99.
Okay. We've already had people. Gimme. No, it's mine. Well, that one's his.
And so so this
one's mine.
Can you
over
see it?
Here.
There we go.
Yeah, dude. Okay.
And so I'm gonna try to drive upside down and backwards and see how we go.
This is gonna be weird, but let me try this.
I'm
doing it from behind the camera. You guys, I just cannot explain how poor of a driver I actually am.
Or have we lost our Bluetooth connection while we were talking?
No, I don't think so. I'm going. I'm moving. Wow. And the thing is, it feels very balanced in the hand.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel heavy.
It's not bad.
And I remember using the PSP and just it feeling just fatigued.
Well, and the great thing about the Moga controller, it's got this expandable arm that it's holding the Note right now, but that would hold your Galaxy S3. It would hold the original Note, Galaxy S2.
Sorry, I'm a horrible driver. Okay, so.
But wait a minute, frame rate. What do we think of the frame?
Okay. I don't know if see, I've got to go through Flash, so I've got to drop the frame rate what you guys are seeing, but up close and personal.
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And so, like we talked about, so now we have this game, and then we plug it into our big screen TV, and it's phenomenal.
Well, you don't even you also have like a wireless option Not,
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't necessarily have to plug it in, although I think we'd both recommend people, if they're going to be pushing video and audio and everything, plugging it
there
in.
are a couple options, right? So yeah, the wired version, the MHL adapter, T-Mobile's got a kit for it's around $50, and it comes with an MHL adapter, HDMI cable, and then a power cable because it does need to be powered. Or for around $100, there's the Samsung Allshare Cast Hub, which is a Wi-Fi enabled kind of a DLNA type support, so you can throw content wirelessly from the small screen to the big
Yeah, that's
screen
what
as
we were
well.
doing. I did the DLNA thing.
Yeah.
Like
I heard you did it by accident
It
a
was
little
on
bit.
accident. I was like a little shocked. I was like,
you're like,
that's never happened before.
I think I like this.
Yeah, it was very odd, but enjoyable. So, it's not just Need for Speed that's supported. There are other game titles that the
there's
Moga Controller
about
supports.
50 titles at launch, and it runs the gambit, right? So we've got EA's Need for Speed. There's some great Gameloft games, games by Vector Unit. We were talking about Riptide earlier, which is a great jet ski game.
Pac-Man.
You can do some retro. I know you're a retro gamer too.
I'm a huge
Pac-Man.
retro gamer.
There's like Atari's greatest
Yes.
hits. So you got Missile Command,
Yes.
Battle Zone, right?
Yes.
it's
So
it runs the gamut. We've got a little bit of everything.
this is yours. I don't want to.
Yeah.
It is yours. I don't really want to dive too deeply into it. But I wish I'm going to pull up Flipboard here.
Oh sure.
And I've been trying to describe just I see frame rates. I can see when something's going 60 frames a second. I can see when something's going 24 frames a second. I can see it. My eyesight may suck, but I can definitely see the difference in a smoother frame rate or fewer drop frames than I think a lot of people can. And that's I think that's part of what separates a power user from an average user. So go ahead and hold let's here so we can hold those phones up. As I'm like flipping back and forth, let me just pull this in
So
here.
I pulled up Flipboard as well.
I can see as I'm dragging that page up and down. Oh, dude, can you see what I'm talking about?
I can see it.
Dude, night and day. And you may not be able to perceive it on that end. This is the Android device. No doubt in my mind. I mean, I'm not just saying it's a bigger screen, battery, everything.
You're just being nice because I'm here, Chris.
No, dude, it's performance. I would not say that otherwise because
Okay.
you can ask and you can even do your research on me. Everything that I had been concerned about, I think had been allayed with Jelly Bean, which this has, and all the modifications that come with it. But along with that, the actual servicing of what Project Butter is, and the reason why Google moved forward with it. So I'm very grateful that you've done this. You've packaged it in such a way that, well, it's at least clear to me that a lot of gamers would probably want to get the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 on your network because of the free game and all that support.
Well,
that
we've
they're
got
not going to get anywhere. Wi-Fi calling as
Wi-Fi.
well.
I was gonna say Wi-Fi calling. So I told you I just came back from Mexico. We visited some family friends, and they had Wi-Fi at their house. And roaming is a little bit expensive in Mexico.
Bit.
And so I was able to use Wi-Fi calling and call back home, talk to my parents, tell them everything was great. How are the kids? Things like that. But yeah, we had a good time, and hopefully quite a bit less in terms of roaming charges than we would normally incur on a trip to Mexico.
But that's only a T-Mobile thing, the Wi-Fi calling.
Yeah, right now.
I hadn't had a chance to use it extensively because most of I don't call. I don't talk. I email.
Once
back
you're gone,
and forth.
you're gone.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and pull out. Ooh, that was interesting. It was like I get a little haptic feedback.
Yep.
And I love the haptic feedback in the Samsung Galaxy
Sure.
S3, so I'm glad they brought that over as I pulled out the S Pen.
Yep.
And I guess there's Wacom technology on this screen. 1024, levels of pressure sensitivity.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
And I have not used this. From there, it looks so small. It's just from that distance. If we bring it up here, it's like
massive.
It's really, honestly though, I mean, it's definitely bigger, but I could see how someone could easily confuse a Galaxy S3 with a Note.
Well, they have complementary design language, right? So I mean, when you look at this device, you have a history there.
It's sharp. It's clean. Let's see here. Oh yeah, and the hover capabilities too.
No reading text messages.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to pull up any because it's his phone. No, I think that I've never used a phone. Well, no, actually, I take that back. The last time I used a stylus with a phone was the Pocket PC.
Okay.
It's
been
way back
a long
in the day.
time.
Have you had much experience with the Note app at all? Or
yeah, I do a little bit. I think so. Some of the things I find kind of more fun. I'm a little bit less of a note taker. I love the Google voice actions, so I do a lot of speaking. Like when you're in the car, we can't really use our phones here while we're driving, so voice is good for me. But some of the things I like with the pen are actually, so like I said, I have kiddos, right? I can go into the go into the pictures.
Oh, cool.
And then,
If you want to go ahead and
here.
drive.
We'll see if I can
I don't know if
drive
you
and not crash while we're doing this.
That's another thing I liked, the driving mode. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
know that, that's available, and that's something that, as Android is advanced and modifications happen, that's definitely appreciated for people who, have a tendency to look at their screens while they drive.
So here we go. So here's a photo below the Sun Pyramid in Mexico City. And if I want, I can, let's see, draw on the image. And it flips over the image. And then, now I'm not going to be able to do this without. So I'll just write a little note. And we'll write Mexico.
That's clean. It's smooth.
12, right? So just like...
Here, let's bring it. We can bring it in closer.
Sure.
Just make it... Oh, sorry.
Flipped over?
No,
That's
I went
okay.
back. I'm sorry.
So we can tap the corner again, and it will show us. There we go.
That's smooth.
And this is like, when we were kids, our parents would take pictures and write on the back, right? They'd annotate their pictures.
Well,
right?
yeah,
So
my mom still does that.
This is kind of fun. This is cool and different. So, note taking on pictures.
I wish, and I hope you guys can really see that, just how fluid those strokes are.
Sure.
I mean, I don't see any
and like you talked about,
jaggies or anything like that, and that tells me this screen is sharp.
Well, and you talked about pressure sensitivity. So if you press harder on the screen, you get a thicker brush stroke, and if you write a little lighter, go ahead.
I love. That was horrible. I just drew. There's a picture of Diana, my wife here. I just drew a little. There we go. She's Mexican, so I drew. That's horrible. This is a.
She's going to see this later.
I know she is.
Yeah.
Trust me, she's absolutely going to see this. When you were showing me some bit about this before too, you were showing that the magnet sensitivity.
Your
stylus.
it's kind of a hover capability. Samsung calls it Air View.
Okay.
And if we want, we can cancel out of there.
Yep.
And let's go back one more. Oh, sorry, wrong side. Driving upside down.
And you can hover over.
Yeah, so hover over, and there you can see different pictures inside the gallery.
So I'm not touching the screen. I'm just hovering the stylus
up a little bit,
over.
a little higher. It doesn't do it won't do my Picasa.
Sorry. Oh, okay.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I use Picasa too for all my photos. And you can do the same thing with video as well.
Absolutely.
So video thumbnails.
Sure. We'll jump out of here.
You can navigate your phone quicker than I can, certainly at this angle.
Dude,
the frame rate is insane.
Nope. Go there.
And the frame rate is insane.
And so go ahead and hover over like that first one we were looking at earlier. So it does a preview.
And you can pop away. Oh, wow. Dude, smooth.
And then jump into this video.
Okay.
So that
which one?
That roller coaster one. And then now you can, if you hover over the timeline, and of course we can't get it.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
And I can jump to any point.
You can jump to any point, right?
Nice. Live scrubbing there. Nice. And you can pop it out.
Pop it out.
Nice. Look at that. How's that for multitasking? Wow. That is seriously impressive.
So some pretty fun stuff.
I would say. So it's only available now. I mean, just starting today.
Just starting today.
Have you been using this as your primary device?
I have been using that as my primary device for a couple months now.
Okay.
And I would say that, the interesting thing about Note is people always look at it and they go, man, that's a massive phone, right? But you use it for a couple days and it's hard to go back.
Right.
It's hard to go back.
Everything else seems smaller.
I love my S3, but I look at it and I go, it's so little, it's cute.
And that's the thing is it doesn't necessarily make the S3 look bad.
No.
And certainly I can see the S3, I understand why so many people have been loving the S3. But for
fantastic device,
for a power user, I mean, the stylus is very nice. It works very well, especially if you're a note taker, into art or anything you can draw. But the performance on that is definitely. I mean, I can notice that like immediately. So we have a question here. I don't know if that's safe to ask.
Well, so we can talk. Yeah, so we can talk a little bit about multi-view. Multi-view, some of you guys have heard about in the past couple weeks.
Right.
Multi-view is a new feature that Samsung is starting to show off, and will incorporate multi-view once it gets fully tested in an updated software build.
So this screen is bright. It's really, I would say it's not just the sophomore version of the Note, but I mean they've made pretty dramatic improvements between the Note 1 and the Note 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Including the screen, like the quality of the screen. They changed the resolution, but also improved the way that color was handled. Better saturation,
better
blacks.
saturation, better blacks. I think when you look at pictures and things like that with this device, I mean it's just absolutely gorgeous, and it's it's 5.5 inches, so it's a true 16:9 aspect ratio now, which is a little better for movie viewing, kind of those entertainment features. Games
1280 720. Yeah. So this is. It's going to be hard to go back to the Samsung Galaxy S3 now, because I loved my favorite app. I know this sounds crazy. My favorite app is Instagram. Okay. Because it's so visual, and I can see, and having a bigger screen for any kind of video or anything that's visual makes a lot of sense for me, and that's one of the reasons why I've been very, very happy that Instagram's supported on Android. So I can only imagine.
Yeah. I have a good friend in the office who told me that his fiance keeps stealing his Note 2. He's on our friendly user trial, right? And he said his fiance keeps stealing the Note 2 so she can check her Pinterest and her Instagram and pretty much I think it's visual things like that. It's just people with this size screen and the resolution. It's gorgeous, and people just you get lost in that screen.
So we had a question, and I think you kind of clarified it. What multi-view is basically being able to pull up two different apps at the same time.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to do that, and of course, having a large screen. It's just I cannot. I wish I had okay. Here's the height of my hand. I mean, I just can't explain. The size of the screen, even as large as it is, doesn't seem to be unwieldy.
Yeah. Well, and plus it's narrower than the original Note, right? So you got a narrower, a lighter, and a thinner device with a bigger battery and a bigger processor and a bigger screen.
So would this be considered, or I don't know if you kick it around, the phablet? Like a kind of.
So I
is that
still,
a dirty word? I
still think it's a smartphone, right? I still think it's a smartphone.
It's definitely in that. In
some
that realm.
Some folks it definitely kind of starts to play in that realm of is it big enough to be a small tablet, or is it a phone, and that's how they get to phablet. But I think for me it's just it's what's the term we can use on here, right? That's just that
super smartphone.
That's that big old phone that you carry around with you all the time.
It's YouTube, I'm sure. I'm just someone was asking, and it looks like we did what they had asked to do. Hold it up next to a dollar bill. Actually, I think I'll do that.
Yeah.
I've got a dollar bill here.
Perfect.
It's here. I don't know if I think everybody's kind of read the specs online. I mean, they've probably read a million different reviews. To me, what it always boils down to, and I say this about anything. Yeah, the specs it's nice to read. It's nice to know, how much your battery, how long it can last. But to me, it boils down to the experience.
Sure.
And this is, and I can tell you, having used Android over the years, and I'm not just saying this because it's brand new. I mean, the performance is definitely there with the Note 2. So there it is, next to a dollar bill. A bit wider, certainly, but just a little shorter than a dollar bill, if that gives you any idea. But once you start using it, so like when I'm immersed in that game, I don't even think. It's like I'm sitting inches away from an HD TV.
Yeah, it feels great, right?
Well, it's balanced in the hand.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I'm. There's always that when you're having a weird experience, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I didn't get that feeling when I was playing the game. I don't get the feeling even when I'm using the device or browsing anything on it. It's in the time that I've had with it. And initial impressions, when it comes to these devices, it's very, very important. It's a very competitive landscape. So I don't know if there's any other notes that we wanted to cover here. It seems like it supports darn near everything.
Yep. It's it's Wi-Fi, AB, GN. It's
is it dual band too, isn't it?
It is dual band.
Faster.
Bluetooth 4.0.
So better for lower power consumption.
Yeah. Quad-core processor, big battery, big screen. I mean, that's if we want to go down the tech specs, that's the cool stuff. Then we talk about features, S Pen, or what we're calling now the enhanced S Pen with AirView, because it has that hover capability.
You said it's a magnet.
Yeah, it's built in there. What else can we talk about? I mean, for me, camera stuff. We should do a camera demo on the new Burst Shot, because I think that's a cool one too.
Well, I think most people use their smartphones as their cameras,
as their
whether they
camera.
want to admit it or not.
So let's see if we can get the burst to go. And then we'll do a burst. We're focusing. And there we go. There. So press and hold does Burst Shot.
And then you go through and you pick the the cleanest one.
Pick the one that you like the
Yeah,
best.
that's one thing that I think that features also on the Galaxy S3. So it's I think it's a Samsung modification, if I'm not mistaken, part of the TouchWiz
absolutely
experience. But that makes it an even better device. And when you have software that kind of supports the hardware, I mean, when you're running in conjunction with one another, and I don't think you could have had that without, really, well, Samsung in the game, and even you guys taking it up, kicking it up a notch, at least for the gamers.
Sure.
I mean, oh, I get a free game? Who's going to complain about
Yeah.
that? Who? Really?
Yeah, I think with Need for Speed, it's a fantastic pairing to show off the screen and show off the processor power. There are other great games. We also have a partnership with Zynga, so if you're a social gamer and you want to play Words with Friends, so we'll send one of these to Alec Baldwin, and maybe he'll not get in trouble getting on a plane.
Right.
But I mean, there's tons and tons of great options. We talked a little bit about Instagram and Pinterest, things like that. Instagram, this is a device I Instagram probably 2 or 3 times a day with, just because, first of all, camera's great.
It looks good,
and
too.
then it looks good, right? And it's fun to look through. I mean, I watch. I'm an old skateboarder from way back when, so I follow a bunch of old skateboarders, and it's like, oh wow, it looks better on the phone now than it probably did on my little TV running a VHS VHS video.
Oh man, I remember you could buy a gadget that would record to cassette tape. The XL 2000. What was it called? It was like a little camcorder you could record on cassette tape. This is even, I don't know if it was before VHS, but God, MXL 2000. I'm gonna have to look.
We're gonna have to look it up.
That's crazy. Anyway, so this device here may have stole the show. I know everyone tuned in for the Note 2 unboxing.
Sure.
But my initial impressions are very, very positive. This is going to be a very difficult Android device to top.
Good stuff.
And it's very pocketable. For me, I have small pockets.
Yeah.
And it's the thing. Give it the pocket test here.
Front pocket.
Can't even see it.
No problem.
So it works. It works as a pocketable device. So it's not something that I don't think is going to be unwieldy for anybody. And I don't have the biggest hands in the world, and I can definitely get around. Well, thanks for spending time with me.
Of course.
I thought it was kind of neat. Given the opportunity, I'm like, sure, I'll talk to a product manager.
Yeah,
know more about the device than I do because I don't have much experience with it. So.
Well, it's fun to be here, and I think we should do it again. I mean, we do devices all the time, and so this is that's kind of the fun part about Android, right? It's a little bit of a space race. So there's always something bigger, there's always something more powerful, there's always something faster. But Note 2 is a really great device. We've just launched it. Samsung's going to launch it. It's actually out other places in the world right now, but I mean it'll be out across multiple carriers. But T-Mobile is the first to launch today, and we're excited to be part of this. Chris, we appreciate it.
Walk into a store, hold on, or if you got a friend who has one, you have to try it. Just look at the frame rates. That's all I'm going to say. Just look at the frame rates.
It always goes back to the frame rates.
But it means so much to me. Anyway, thanks everybody. I think I was watching some of the questions coming in, and it seems that most of the questions were seemingly answered. But if they weren't answered, you guys, I guess, are easily available to answer those questions.
Certainly. We can follow up. You bet.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to go play. I'm going to install a sim and play with my Note. This is mine?
Yep.
Note. I win! I didn't know. I was like, no, you got to keep the box. It's an unboxing.
There you go.
Like, they're not throwing a curveball.